Okay, we've been working on solving equations, and we're going to look at an example of when you solve an equation, and instead of getting an answer, you end up getting where it's either no solution or infinite solutions. So that's what we're going to be aiming for. You're not just getting like x is equal to like a -3. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like if you have no solution. All right, this is an example. So we're going to look and see what we get for our answer. So we're going to solve it just like we solve every other equation. We're going to go through and use our steps. And remember, it's don't call me after midnight. So the first step is going to be to use the distributive. So I'm going to multiply that. And that's going to give me a negative 8x minus 4 equals a negative 8x minus 2. So that was the distributive. Now I'm going to do combine like terms on either side of the equal sign. Well, I can't combine these two terms because one has an x and one doesn't. Same thing over there. So I don't do that. So now I'm going to move the variable to the same side. So I want to move all my x's to the left-hand side using inverse operation. This is a negative 8x, so I'm going to add 8x here. Those are inverse signs of 8x, so they're going to cancel. If I add 8x to that side, I have to add 8x over here. Well, I want you to notice, those are inverse signs, just like they are over here. So they're going to cancel. So I end up bringing down a minus 4 is equal to a minus 2. So this is saying that a negative 4 is equal to a negative 2. Is that ever the case? No, it's not. So that means these are not equal, and so your answer would end up being no solution. So if you solve it using these steps, don't call me after midnight, distributive, combine like terms, move the variable, inverse, add, subtract, inverse, and multiply and divide, and you end up getting an answer that has something that cannot be equal to the other, your answer is going to be a no solution. Okay, now let's look at this side, infinite. Okay, we're going to go through the same steps, which is don't call me after midnight. First, the distributive. So in the distributive property, I am going to multiply what is in front times everything on the inside. Okay, so let's do that at this time. So I'm going to do, and actually this parentheses should be right here. Sorry about that. Okay, so this, I just bring this down, a negative 5 minus 9x, and then I'm going to distribute that. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times a negative 3x is a negative 9x, and then I just bring down on the minus 8. Okay, so that was the distributive. Next, combine like terms. I cannot combine anything on that side because one has an x and one doesn't. Over here, I can combine this 3 and the negative 8. Those two I can combine because those are like terms because they don't have a variable. So I'm just going to bring this down. And 3 minus 8 is a negative 5. And then going to bring down the minus 9x. Now personally, I can already see this is infinite because if you have the same thing on both sides and it says equal, then it's infinite to solutions. Now you could go ahead and go to the next step, and that is to move all the variables to the same side. So I'm going to move all of my variables to the left-hand side. So I'm going to do the inverse of subtracting 9x, and I'm going to add it. So I'm going to add 9x on this side and on that side. They cancel on both sides, and I bring down a -5 is equal to a -5. That is always the case. A -5 is always equal to a -5. So your answer is infinite. So basically, if you follow the steps to solve an equation, and your last answers are like this, and they could not be equal, it is a solution. Think, no way those could be equal. Infinite means you solve all the steps using these different steps here, and you end up getting two numbers that are exactly the same. Then your answer to that one is going to be infinite. If you will now please work on the 4 problems at the bottom, and you will find that they're either infinite, no solution, or possibly it is going to have a solution. All right, sorry about that. Thank you very much.